Morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? I thought I would do a video this morning talking about myself a little bit. I'm up way too early. I had to bring my youngest son to a job interview, and since I'm sitting here doing nothing, I thought I promised you guys in the first video that I would tell you a little bit about myself. As you know, my name's Tracy, and I was born at the tail end of the 60s, so I'm kind of old. I was born in 1967, and some of my very first memories are of, being with my grandmother and getting dirty, because I wasn't able to do that at home. My mom was like a clean freak. She was a nut. And it made me take like 3 or 4 baths a day if I got even remotely dirty. But I think I recognized being different probably around the age of 4 when I went to what they call nursery school. Now you guys call it daycare, but back in the day it was nursery school. And I always wanted to play with the little boys and the little boys' toys, and moving on to first grade, I remember very clearly being a boy and not understanding why I had to wear dresses and play with dolls, because I hated dolls. I think they're creepy. I still do. I don't like dolls at all. And I had my mom was a very critical person. I don't want to go into too much detail about my relationship with her, because it wasn't always great. But she was a very critical person, and she could be very, verbally abusive. And later on, when I was older, it was more physical. But back in that day, it was just called discipline. And so, but my dad was awesome. He would bring me home comic books. He would bring me home he found toy guns on the side, at one of his work sites or whatever. He'd bring that home to me. I don't think he realized he was, encouraging me to be a boy, but he did bring me all kinds of stuff. He just saw it as things that I would enjoy. Although my parents always bought me boy toys, for Christmas as well. I would get G.I. Joes, and I'd have to get Barbies too, but that's okay, because G.I. Joe was always Barbie's boyfriend, because Ken was way too wimpy, I guess, for me, for my taste. But I first noticed in middle school that how I felt wasn't right. Wasn't the way the other girls were feeling. But, I didn't have words for it. But I do remember probably along around the 8th grade realizing that, I liked girls a lot. But in my mind, I couldn't comprehend how that would work. So in my mind, I was a man. And I remember very clearly around that age planning my escape route from home, leaving home at 18 or as soon as I could get out, and having a sex change. Because that's what they called it back then. They didn't call it reassignment surgery. They called it sex change. I also remember about that time getting some, books about gays and lesbians from the college library, and they were found in my locker by my math teacher in 9th grade, and she called my parents, and that was that didn't go over too well, let's just say that much. My mom was livid, and spent the next 3 years of my life doing everything she could to make sure I was normal, because God forbid I'd be different. That wasn't in the cards. Flash forward to several years, and one night I had a really bad fight with my mother. I'm sure she would call it disciplining. That's not what it was. And so I left home. And I didn't talk to, I didn't talk to them for a while. They knew where I was because I talked to my uncle. And then I got into a little bit of trouble, and my parents bailed me out, and I went home to live with them. And it just, got kind of ugly, and I ran away. And when I ran away, I was out on bail for the trouble I was in. And so I spent the next 10 years being, I guess, a fugitive. Actually, my parents did straighten that out when I moved back, but that next 10 years was really interesting. And I'm going to leave you guys with that little cliffhanger because I will talk about that time in the next video. Sorry for my rambling. It's early. I mean, really early. I'm not used to being up this early because I tend to stay up very late. But I'm going to leave you guys with that cliffhanger, and we'll talk next time about what it was like to be homeless and transgender. All right, guys, be good to yourselves. Be kind to one another. I love you, and I will talk to you soon. And it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Bye-bye.